guys, so what we got going on today, we're doing full cat-back with headers. We got a brand new catalytic converter, wide pipe, and the Tanabe, or they call it Revel now, the medallions, the OG Touring Medallions. It's going in this Gs300. Now, if you've never done O2 sensors, wide pipe, cat, whatever you want to call it, first thing you want to do is come in here, pull this down. That's your O2 sensor wire for the wide pipe. Go ahead, do yourself a favor, take that out now. So you have to do it while it's up in the air. Because once it's up in the air, you don't want to be interrupted. Got to bring the car down, do all that. So change the manifold because the cats are on the manifold. All new O2s. And he threw in the cat-back just because. So let's get to it. So now that we have the car up in the air, as you can see, there's your O2 sensor and how it, it runs up into the car, right through that grommet, right there. If you're lucky, these bolts will come off. Lucky for me, this car, the previous owner put these cheap catalytic converters in. As you can see, we tried to bypass emissions. You didn't see that. But the reason why we're changing it because he can't pass emissions because it's on a PO420 code, probably because of cheap catalytic converters, so on and so forth. But he wanted to be done because it's starting to crack in the wide pipe. So everything is new, and I'm deciding if I'm gonna do a time lapse or if I'm going to record it all and then do some fun editing later. I'll probably do a time lapse. Just makes my life easier. And we'll go from there. So, hope you enjoyed the time lapse. I'll probably do a little voiceover. But once I'm done with the time lapse and me removing everything, making a whole bunch of ruckus and noise, and probably gotta, like, those, if the camera focus, that right there is your worst nightmare. That's one of those, oh, this would be a 20-minute job because, oh, a cat-back, how bad could it be? Until you run into that, and then you want to kill yourself. So, probably gonna just leave that attached because I'm replacing everything anyway. But if you guys are doing a cat-back, you're not gonna, let's be real here, heat's not gonna save you. Heat will probably save you getting it out. But you're probably going to end up using a hacksaw, sawzall, or if you have access to a torch like I do, you just melt that off and call it a day. Because that right there will ruin your day, straight up. That'll make your job turn into a 2-3 hour job, especially if you just have hand tools. I have everything you can automotive dream of. So it will probably be quick work for me. But, yep, let's get to it. So, I'll do a quick little tools you're gonna need. Pry bar, sockets, ratchets, 3/8. If you're doing the exhaust work, you want the fancy blue point. This is to get rid of the hanger. You'll probably see me use this in a little bit to pull the exhaust at the hangers. Now, Lyle does make a cheaper one. I was a Snap-on fanatic back in the day, so I bought everything Snap-on. As you can see, these are Snap-on. These are lifesavers. I might not use it much on this exhaust, but as you can see, it's kind of hard to lose a socket and a hard to reach place with a swivel. Now, Gear Wrench makes a set from 10 to 15, just like Snap-on does. I think it's like $200 some, where Snap-on's almost 500. So, doing timing belts, valve cover gaskets, anything, Toyota related, these things save your life. Especially when you don't want to lose a 10. It's kind of hard to lose a 10 that's attached to a 12-inch extension. Just saying. And then Milwaukee's. I've moved from Milwaukee now. Everything's Milwaukee fuel I own. Like, I have a die grinder. Not needed on this, but just saying. So, there's some of the tools you're going to need. 10, 12, 14. O2 sensor socket if you don't have one. I'm going to grab a set I have. You have two styles. You can either do a long, if you don't know what O2 sensor socket is, there's your education real quick. So the wire can stick through, you can put a ratchet on it, or you can put a big socket on it. This one, you can put a 1/2 inch breaker bar or a 3/8 ratchet, and it's a stubby. So situational. All depends on the situation, what you need. So, gotta have those if you're doing exhaust work, especially O2 sensors. If you by chance, let's say, oh, I don't have it out yet. They make a thread chase. So if you screw up the O2 sensor bung, because here's a downpipe bung, let's say you screw the threads up, they do make a thread chase to chase the threads in case you do screw up the threads. So, enough jibber jabber, let's get to it. As you can see, got it out. The only struggle that you're gonna have is this one you can get out with a pry bar. This one, as you can see, you're not getting it out unless you wanna try your luck on these bolts. So what I did was grab the channel lock, hook it, and pull down as hard as you can. You're trying to get it over that hook. So once you get it off, help or jack stands, a pole stand, and a trans jack, what you want to have. So now we're going to drop the car and do the catalytic converter. All right, so we're done. Installed the exhaust. As you can see, the old school ones used to say Touring Medallion. The new ones just say Medallion. Don't mind the dirt. It snowed, so it got a little dirty. But yeah, other than that, install was fairly normal. You know, some of the medallions, I have another set. It will have a resonator here. So I'm guessing on this one, because we had the Hyper before, I've had Touring, and I guess they decided to lose the resonators, and all the hardwares are 17 rather than, you know, factory's 14. But all in all, quality of the exhaust is outstanding. So the only problem that we had install was, this is a Walker Y pipe, because this is a cat now. You know, Walker made this a cat. So the O2 sensor placement was ass. You can clearly tell, like, in order for you to ever change this, the Y pipe's got to come down. I hope, well, we put new sensors in, so I hope I never have to ever replace it, but never say never. You know how that goes. But all new, I don't have the light on, but all new sensors all the way around. The manifold itself is a Doorman. I think that Doorman manifold was like $800, $700, only because the owner of this car wanted to be one and done with the emissions, even though the car is a 2003. So the owner wanted to be one and done with the emissions problems, because he was throwing a PL420 code. Now the old Cat, as you can see here, it's another cheap one. Nothing was wrong with it other than it threw a PL420 code. That's why we had the, you know, spacer. But yeah, different design too, by the way. I don't know if you saw in the video. This has like a tubular design, whereas the other one in the car has like a cast design. So what I'm gonna do, y'all heard a cold start, minus me almost falling and dying in that clip. Y'all heard the cold start. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get it running and get it warm, and then I'll do a hot idle video, and then I'll try to mount the phone, because you know I don't have the camera like that. I'll mount the phone in the car, just try to in the middle, so that you can hear it in cabin driving, because Tanabe's famous for no droning. It's super quiet at idle once it's warm, and that's what the owner wanted. He wanted to be quiet, but when he gets on it, he wants to hear it. And the look, I mean, can't beat the look of the actual mufflers. The Hyper, in my opinion, is the best looking exhaust because it has the huge cannons that come out. Same muffler, just a big cannon for the tip. So I'll hit that recording for you on the next slide.